Now it's time for another Board Game Brawl preview with Nick Minahan, sponsored by BoardGameBliss.com.
Hey now, my name is Nick, this is Board Game Brawl, and today we're going to be taking a look at a game that is currently seeking funding on Kickstarter. That game is called Tavern Fame, and it's from the company Tavern. Now, if you like what you see throughout the rest of this preview video, I'm going to encourage you to go to the official Kickstarter project page. I'm going to have a link at the bottom of the screen right now, and at the end of the video, and also down in the description section of the video. That'll take you to the official Kickstarter project page. You can find out even more information, more than I can possibly tell you here, about Tavern Fame, and hopefully you'll consider backing the project. Now, what is Tavern Fame? This is a competitive game that thematically you are a bunch of adventurers who you've just had a long day of adventuring and you're chilling out at the tavern, swapping drinks and trying to get all the patrons in the bar to pay attention to you and your epic stories, which of course is going to require you to sort of massage the truth just a little bit. You're going to try to tell your epic tale and say, well, I killed like 20 skeleton warriors, and your buddy says, well, I killed even more than that. Well, I killed even more than that. And one of them says, no, there's no way that you killed that many. This is the kind of things thematically that are going on, and in gameplay terms, eventually you're going to have to prove that you could actually kill that many monsters and hopefully sway some of the bar patrons to come over to your table and build your Tavern Fame. Let's go ahead and take a brief look at how the game is played, then we're going to come back and I'll give you my final thoughts. Alright, I'm going to give you a brief rundown of Tavern Fame. This is a competitive game where players are in a tavern and they're trying to bluff their way through stories of their daring do. So the goal in gameplay terms is that you're trying to get the most patrons to come over to you. You want to be the first one to get 10 patrons. If you do that, you're going to win the game automatically. Otherwise, if the patrons all run out from the center of the table, these are these little meeple dudes here, then you're going to see who has the most at that point, and then the game will end. So just for startup here, you're going to take the enemy deck, you're going to shuffle up, put it in the center of the table. You'll separate out the patrons with these meeples here, the combat dice, and then the blue cubes representing drinks. Each player is going to start off with 3 patrons and 2 drinks. You'll get a random character card. You'll shuffle up that deck, deal one face up to every player, and then just put the rest to the side. And here, I'll go ahead and show you what those character cards look like. You have a lot of different cards, a lot of different classes. Here's the Ranger, for instance. Now, the important bits on this card. First, in the center here, this is that character's strength. So right off the bat, when they engage in combat, that's how many dice that character is going to get to roll. Over here is the perfect bluff bonus. Like I said, you're lying your butt off in a tavern, and you want to make sure you do it as perfectly as possible. And if you do it perfectly, which I'll explain in a moment, then you're going to get this extra bonus in patrons to your side. Over here is your combat bonus against certain types of enemies. For the Ranger, it's bears and wolves, which gives her a +1. Then you have the Crusader and the Priest and the Peasant, okay? The Rogue, the Sorcerer, and the Squire. And there's a lot of other characters besides those. Those are just a few of the ones I wanted to highlight. Then let me show you the enemy cards. These are there's a lot of these as well. You'll have the picture, the name. Then you're going to have the amount of drinks you get for successfully slaying that card, and then also patrons. And then this is the actual health of the card. So you have orcs, werewolves, satyrs, which I just think is pretty funny. It's easy top, spirits, and dragons. And like I said, there's a whole lot more of those. So how this is going to work at the beginning of the game, you're going to decide one player to go first, and first thing that happens is that player buys a round of drinks for everyone, which means you're going to go into the stock of drink cubes and pass one out to each player. If you're getting low on those, you start to the left and work your way around. After you get done buying drinks, it's time to boast about your glorious tale of destroying enemies, which in game terms means you're going to flip over the top card of the enemy deck, and that is what you're boasting about. You are boasting about killing a bunch of rats, which is the easiest thing every Final Fantasy character learns how to do right away. So in this case, remember what I said, over here are the rewards for successfully completing this challenge, and then you have the enemy's health. When it gets time to actually do the slaying of whoever that might be, whoever's going to have to do that, you're going to add up your strength bonus plus any bonus you may have for a particular type of creature, which means the poor druid here is out of luck, as well as any drink tokens that you want to spend. Add all those things together, and that's how many dice you get to roll. You're going to roll all those dice, and every number that in this case comes up as a 2 or greater counts as a success in a slaying, and you're trying to meet the number of kills that you actually boasted about. So in the boasting part, before you actually get to all that, let's say that I'm the druid, I'm going to say, well, I have 5 strength, but I'm not really beneficial in killing rats, but I do have 3 drinks, and it's pretty easy to roll a 2. So I'm going to say 3. I think I can kill 3 of these rats. Now the next player has 2 different options. Either they can up the ante and say, no, I can kill 4 of the rats. I can kill 4 of them, so what are you talking about? Or that player can believe you and say, yeah, okay, you could probably kill 3 of those rats. If the starting player gets any player gets every other player at the table to agree that yeah, you could probably kill that, you actually will get a reward of an extra patron. But the other players can keep upping the ante and trying to essentially outbid you for the right to boast about killing the most rats. Now, alternatively, at any time, a player can say, whoa, that's enough, I'm calling your bluff, and take one of their patrons and put it on the enemy card, representing that they are totally calling your bluff and saying there's no way you could possibly kill that many rats. Now, it is possible, even after someone calls a bluff, that another player can say, well, I'm going to up the ante further, at which point you can either throw your hand down and keep anyone else from throwing their patron on because you're still going to call that new player's bluff, or whatnot. But otherwise, things are going to go around until everyone eventually says, okay, I either believe you or I'm challenging you. Let's see what you got. And at that point, whichever player is stuck with the highest bid, essentially, is going to try to slay as many of those, in this case, rats, as possible, rolling dice just like I explained before. Now, if someone did call you out and you're successful, not only are you going to get the challenge reward, but you're also going to get to take that person's patron. But if you fail, then you actually owe the person who challenged you a patron, and that they also get their own patron back. Then play is going to go to whoever was the challenger in that case and do the whole thing all over again, just trying to get patrons. And by the way, if you don't know yet, how the perfect bluff works is that when you're rolling those dice to get successes, you roll exactly what your bluff was, exactly what you claimed you killed. One other thing, if someone's ever in danger of losing their last patron to another player, you can arm wrestle for it. This is where you're going to roll a number of dice equal to your strength compared to the other player's dice equal to their strength. Whoever gets the most 6s wins. And if it's you, you get to keep your patron. If it's not you, unfortunately, you're going to take a hit to your strength for the remainder of the game, but you do get to take 2 patrons and 2 drinks from the center of the table. And that's essentially the game. You're trying to get as many patrons as possible to come over to your table and listen to your stories as opposed to the other players. You're going to do this by trying to bluff and tell the biggest, greatest lies you possibly can. That is Tavern Fame. Let's get to my final thoughts. Tavern Fame is a very interesting game because I think it fits into a couple of different genres. If you are a typical board gamer and card gamer, then this is going to be sort of to use our type of terminology, our people's terminology, it's a good filler weight game, but with enough bite and strategy to it that makes it a little more interesting than your typical card game you would use just to sort of kill time in between games. Rather, there's an interesting element of bluffing here, where you're actually trying to just kind of, it's bluffing and it's bidding, and you're saying like, I can kill this many things, or I did kill this many things, and I dare you to try and do better than me, or I dare you to call my bluff and go against my skill, knowing that I'm really, really good at killing this type of monster, or maybe I'm not, but are you really going to risk me not rolling really well? Those are the types of things that gamers just eat up in these types and weights of games. On the other hand, I think that this game can be interesting for people who are not typically board gamers and card gamers, but instead are tabletop role-playing gamers, because the theme is just perfect for that. I could even see people role-playing as their characters in the RPG session that they're in the middle of, but using the stat cards from this game. Like, oh, here, you're the ranger? Take the ranger card. But you know what? Go ahead and just sort of modify the creatures a bit to what you're good at based on the creature cards, the enemy cards that we have in this game. You can do little things like that with very little effort and still get the,
just mix it into your role-playing game session in a very real way and just, have a lot of fun with it. And still, because even if you're, it's interesting. I think that role-playing gamers can be some of the smartest people in the world, but that's role-playing games, and then board games and card games are their own thing. And I've seen people struggle to make the leap from one to another and wrap their heads around the type of games that the other type of person plays. But I think that Tavern Fame is so accessible, it's quick to learn, it's fast to play, that I think that there's not any kind of learning curve there. It can be very easy for both types of gamers, while at the same time, like I said, there's enough edge and bite there to keep anyone interested, even people who like heavier board games and card games. So it's a very good filler in that regard, and definitely something that you should check out if you are interested in that type of theme. If you are a role-playing gamer, if you are a board gamer or a card gamer who likes fantasy themes and nice artwork and who wants a filler of this type of weight, you should definitely check it out. And if you want to find out more information, you should go to the official Kickstarter project page. I'm going to have a link at the bottom of the screen and down in the description section of the video. That'll take you to the page. Find out more info and hopefully consider backing the project. That is Tavern Fame from Tabletop Tyrants. Thanks for watching. Take care.
Thanks for watching. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Patreon. And make sure to check out our sponsor, Board Game Bliss, where you can find an amazing selection of games from around the world. BoardGameBliss.com. Thanks for your support.